I never thought I would be called to the royal chambers of an alien empire, let alone to touch the Queen herself. My life until that point had been a modest one, a battlefield medic in the Interstellar Alliance, trained to heal wounds inflicted by both human and extraterrestrial conflicts. I had seen horrors, gore, shattered bones, lives snuffed out in a heartbeat. But nothing prepared me for the sheer magnitude of what it meant to face an alien sovereign who, for all her grandeur, was hurt and vulnerable in a way no creature should ever be. The call came on a midnight that shimmered with artificial stars in the vast dome of the Alliance station orbiting Tracos, the war-ravaged planet at the edge of known space. I had been resting in the infirmary, checking the oxygen levels of a wounded engineer, when a transmission blinked in my comm panel. The signal carried a weight that was almost physical. One word, Queen, and beneath it a single directive, immediate. By the time I reached the massive transport shuttles, the reality hit me with icy precision. The Queen was alive, barely, and her elite guard had requested only me, the human, because no other medics would understand the intricacies of her bioskeletal physiology. That she trusted a human to repair her was astonishing. That she needed me was terrifying. When I entered the chamber, it was like stepping into the heart of a living cathedral. The walls were curved and organic, pulsing faintly with a bioluminescent glow. The air hummed with a resonant frequency that set my teeth on edge. And there she was, the alien Queen. Her armor, ornate and jagged, gleamed even in the dim light, but was marred by deep gaseous scorches in the dark, wet stains of alien blood. I had read the reports of the skirmish at the Tracos border, but seeing her injuries firsthand was a shock that made my stomach knot. She did not look at me immediately. Her multiple eyes, layered like precious gemstones, focused on a distant point beyond the chamber. The air between us was heavy, not just with her pain, but with an unspoken decree. Do not fail. I approached cautiously, feeling the heat radiating from her. My hands shook despite the years of field work. The armor was unlike anything I had ever repaired. Its composition was partly crystalline, partly organic, a fusion of metal and living tissue. And now, fragments of it threatened to pierce her delicate underlying form, if not handled with extreme care. I set my tools on the sterile table, glancing at the schematic projected above her torso. My heart raced. Every movement had to be precise, every touch measured. One wrong motion could kill her, or me. I need to stabilize the core joints first, I said, my voice betraying a tight knot in my throat. She did not answer. Her attention remained fixed elsewhere. I exhaled and began. The process was painstaking. I had to extract shards of the damaged plating, cauterize the exposed nerves with a laser scalpel that hummed like a living thing, and then meld the repairs with bioluminescent polymer that pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Hours passed, or was it minutes? Time seemed irrelevant. The only reality was the rhythm of my hands, the hum of my instruments, and the quiet, powerful presence of the Queen before me. And then, as I adjusted a jagged piece along her shoulder, it happened. One of her appendages, a delicate, wing-like limb, twitched involuntarily. She shifted, the motion small but deliberate, and her eyes locked onto mine. That gaze was like a tidal wave. I felt it pull at something buried deep inside me. Fear, awe, and something else I dared not name. Before I could retreat, she extended that limb toward me, her armor clicking softly as if in consent, and then, in a movement both shocking and intimate, she pulled me in, not aggressively, but with a gravity I could not resist. My chest pressed against her armored torso, and the world outside the chamber ceased to exist. "You must understand," she said in a voice that resonated inside my skull rather than my ears. "This is forbidden." Her words were an echo of every warning I had ever received about human-alien relations. The Alliance had rules. A human's contact with the Queen was punishable by exile or worse. And yet, here I was, unable to move, held in a moment suspended between survival and the unknown. I will not fail you," I whispered, feeling the heat of her exoskeleton beneath my palms. She did not answer immediately. Instead, she allowed me to continue the delicate repairs, guiding my hands subtly. It was astonishing, intelligent, deliberate cooperation. I worked, my every motion mirrored by the Queen's faint movements, as if she were not merely a patient but a partner in this dance of survival. Hours became an eternity. My muscles ached, my mind strained, but the armor began to hold. Cracks sealed with a glowing resin. Edges fused seamlessly, and the pulsating bioluminescence returned to a steady, soothing rhythm. Finally, I stepped back, exhausted, and the Queen straightened. Her armor, once shattered, now gleamed as though forged anew. "You have done what none could," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Was it relief or something else? "You have saved me." I wanted to speak, to ask her what that meant for us, for me, but words failed. I simply bowed my head, my hands slick with alien blood and polymer. The forbidden moment lingered between us, a fragile thread of connection that could unravel the moment the guards returned. For a long while, neither of us moved. Then, in a motion that was both command and caress, she released me. I stumbled back, my chest heaving, but she did not scold me. She merely regarded me with eyes that seemed to pierce every secret I had ever carried. "Remember," she said finally, her voice low and echoing, "this cannot be spoken of, not to anyone, not even in your private records." I nodded, the weight of her decree pressing on me. I understood immediately. This moment, as monumental as it was, existed outside the bounds of politics, duty, and history. It was ours and ours alone. When I left the chamber, the guards bowed in deference to both their queen and, shockingly, to me. I was a human, an outsider, yet in that moment I felt a strange parody. I had faced the unthinkable and emerged alive. I had touched the heart of an alien empire, and for one brief, forbidden instant, been acknowledged by its sovereign. Back in my quarters, I collapsed onto my bunk. My body was numb, yet my mind raced. Memories of her gaze, the hum of her armor, the forbidden closeness, they would haunt me forever. And I realized something terrifying. I had glimpsed not only the vulnerability of a queen, but the essence of being unlike any I had ever known. A being who could trust me, a human, to save her when no one else could. Days later, when the war raged anew on Tracos, I found myself at the front lines again, performing my duties as if nothing had changed. Yet everything had changed. Every patient I treated, every wound I healed, every decision I made carried the invisible weight of that forbidden moment. I had seen beyond the veil of titles and protocol, beyond species and prejudice. I had faced the alien queen and survived. And somewhere in the depths of that orbiting palace, she remembered me too. Sometimes in the dead of night, when the artificial stars glimmered across the dome, I could feel her presence in a way that defied reason. It was subtle, a shift in the hum of the station, a flicker of bioluminescent light. And it reminded me that some moments, some connections, exist beyond the boundaries of law, fear, and even reality. The memory of that moment, when she had pulled me into the warmth of her wounded armor, would live with me forever. A human, forbidden and yet acknowledged, standing in the shadow of an alien sovereign who had, for a fleeting heartbeat, trusted me more than anyone else in the universe. I knew, with a clarity that terrified me, that I would do it all again. If the Queen called, if the armor failed, if the galaxy demanded it, no law, no edict, no rule would prevent me from stepping into that chamber once more. Because some bonds, forged in silence and danger, are stronger than any decree. And some moments, however forbidden, are worth every risk.